There's a strange paradox in human nature. The more desperately we fight against manipulation, the more vulnerable we become to it. We build walls, we argue, we defend ourselves with emotion and justification, and in doing so, we hand over the very power we're trying to protect. The manipulator doesn't need to break through your defenses when you're busy exhausting yourself maintaining them. They simply wait, they watch, and they use your reactions as a map to your weaknesses. This is what Machiavelli understood that most people never will. Power isn't about control over others, it's about sovereignty over yourself. And the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who walked through fire and tyranny without flinching, they knew this secret too. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," he wasn't offering comfort. He was handing you a weapon. Because the moment you stop reacting, the moment you reclaim your inner citadel, you become untouchable. Not invincible, not perfect, but impossible to manipulate. Before we go deeper, if you're someone who's tired of being read, used, or emotionally cornered by others, subscribe to this channel. We explore the dark psychology, the philosophy, and the real strategies that turn you from prey into something far more dangerous, someone who simply cannot be moved. Hit that notification bell, because what we're about to discuss isn't surface-level self-help. This is about rewiring how you exist in a world designed to exploit your emotional reflexes. Let's begin with the foundation. Manipulation thrives on one thing above all else: your need to be understood, validated, or proven right. Every time you explain yourself to someone who's already decided you're wrong, you're feeding the machine. Every time you react defensively to a provocation, you're confirming that they've found your button. The first power move is simple but brutal. Stop justifying yourself to people who aren't asking in good faith. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. He wasn't encouraging deception. He was revealing a truth about human perception. People don't care about your truth. They care about the story they've already written about you. So stop trying to rewrite it for them. When someone accuses you, baits you, or twists your words, the instinct is to correct them. To explain, to prove you're not what they're saying. But here's what the Stoics knew. Your character isn't on trial in someone else's court. Epictetus taught his students that if someone speaks badly of you, consider whether what they say is true. If it is, correct it. If it isn't, laugh at it. Notice he didn't say defend it. He didn't say argue. He said laugh. Because the opinion of someone who doesn't know you, or who's manipulating you, has no weight. It only has the weight you give it through your reaction. This is the strategy of silence. Not passive silence, not weakness, but the kind of silence that makes people uncomfortable because it refuses to play the game. When you stop defending, explaining, and reacting, you rob the manipulator of their fuel. They're counting on your emotional response. Without it, they have nothing to work with. And that's when you become impossible to manipulate, not because you've built thicker walls, but because you've removed the battlefield entirely. The second power move is about information control, and this is where Machiavelli's ruthlessness meets Stoic discipline. Never reveal everything you think, feel, or plan. We live in a culture that worships transparency, that tells you authenticity means bleeding your inner world out for everyone to see. But the Stoics and Machiavelli both understood something darker. Vulnerability without discernment is self-destruction. Marcus Aurelius kept his meditations private. He wrote them for himself, not for applause. He knew that the moment you expose everything, you give others the ammunition to manipulate you. Think about it. When you tell someone exactly what scares you, what you want, what you're insecure about, you're handing them a manual to your nervous system. And while most people won't use it maliciously, some will. The ones who smile while they file away your confessions. The ones who remember your weak moments and bring them up when it's most advantageous. Information is leverage, and in a world where everyone's trying to gain an edge, you cannot afford to be an open book. This doesn't mean you become cold or dishonest. It means you become selective. You share with those who've earned it. You keep your strategies, your fears, and your true intentions close until the right moment. Seneca said, "If you wish to be loved, love." But he also understood that love without boundaries is exploitation waiting to happen. The third move builds on this. Master the art of the neutral response. When someone tries to provoke you, offend you, or pull you into their emotional chaos, you don't fight back. You don't defend. You simply acknowledge without absorbing. I understand you feel that way. That's an interesting perspective. I'll think about that. These aren't weak responses. They're defenses that look like openness. They give nothing away. They don't confirm. They don't deny. They simply exist as neutral ground that manipulation cannot penetrate. Because manipulation requires friction, it needs you to push back so it can push harder. When you remove the resistance, the manipulator loses their grip. Here's where it gets psychologically deeper. The reason most people can't do this is because they're terrified of being misunderstood or disliked. They need others to see them accurately, to validate their version of events. But the Stoics taught that this need is a chain. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's not about accepting mistreatment. It's about accepting that you cannot control what others think, and the moment you try, you've already lost. So what do? You separate your sense of self from external opinion. You build your identity on principles, on actions, on your internal standards, not on whether someone understands or approves of you. This is freedom. This is power. The fourth move is perhaps the most Machiavellian. Observe more than you speak. Every conversation is an intelligence-gathering operation. When you're talking, you're revealing. When you're listening, you're learning. The manipulator talks to fill space, to charm, to distract. The person who cannot be manipulated listens, watches, and files away every inconsistency, every tell, every moment where the mask slips. Machiavelli wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." He understood that who you trust, what you notice, and what you ignore determines your fate. So pay attention. Watch how people treat those who can do nothing for them. Watch how they react when they don't get their way. Watch whether their actions match their words over time. Most manipulation fails under sustained observation because it requires inconsistency. The manipulator must adapt, shift, play different roles for different people. But when you're patient, when you're watching without judgment or reaction, you start to see the pattern. And once you see it, you can't be fooled by it. The fifth move is about emotional regulation, and this is where Stoicism becomes a practical weapon. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety." Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. Anxiety, anger, fear, these aren't inflicted on you by others. They're generated by your interpretation of events. When someone insults you, they're not making you angry. You're choosing anger as a response to their behavior. This sounds like semantics until you practice it, until you start catching yourself in the moment of interpretation and asking, is this reaction serving me, or is it serving them? When you realize that your emotions are yours to command, not external circumstances, you become unshakable. The manipulator can say whatever they want. They can threaten, guilt, or provoke. But if you've trained yourself to pause, to observe your emotional response before acting on it, they're powerless. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you become selective about which emotions you honor with action. Righteous anger at injustice? Act on it. Petty irritation at someone's attempt to bait you? Discard it. This is mastery. The sixth move combines psychology with strategy. Never let them see you sweat, but more importantly, never believe your own mask. Machiavelli advised leaders to appear merciful, faithful, and humane, whether they were or not. But here's the twist the Stoics add. You must actually cultivate these qualities internally, not just project them. Because if you're only pretending, you'll slip. The stress of maintaining a false self will crack you. But if you genuinely build inner strength, calm, and principle, then your external composure isn't an act. It's a reflection. This is where Machiavelli and the Stoics meet perfectly. Strategic appearance backed by genuine character creates someone who is both untouchable and authentic. The seventh move is about boundary enforcement without announcement. Weak boundaries talk. Strong boundaries act. When someone crosses a line, you don't explain why it's wrong. You don't justify your discomfort. You simply remove access, change the dynamic, or walk away. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." He didn't say convince them to respect you. He said associate with better people. The power move is recognizing that some people will never respect your boundaries because manipulation is their language. So you don't argue. You don't educate. You just create distance. The eighth move addresses a psychological trap: the need to win every battle. Manipulators love to drag you into pointless conflicts because even if you win the argument, you've lost time, energy, and peace. The Stoic response? Choose your battles with ruthless precision. Not every provocation deserves a response. Not every slight requires correction. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that most of what troubles us is unnecessary. So ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Will engaging with this person or situation move me toward my goals? If not, it's not a battle. It's a distraction. Let it pass. The ninth move is perhaps the darkest. Accept that some people are not trying to understand you. They're trying to use you. This is where most good-hearted people get trapped. They believe that if they just explain better, communicate more clearly, show more patience, the manipulator will finally get it. But Machiavelli understood that some people are predators by nature, not by mistake. They see kindness as weakness. They interpret patience as permission. The Stoic response is not cruelty. It's clarity. You see them for what they are, not what you wish they were. And you act accordingly. The 10th and final move brings everything together. Live by principles, not reactions. The manipulator's greatest advantage is unpredictability. They keep you off balance, never knowing which version of them you'll encounter. But when you operate from a fixed set of principles, honesty, courage, self-discipline, justice, you become predictable in the best way. You're not reactive. You're not emotional. You're simply consistent. And consistency is kryptonite to manipulation because it offers no cracks, no exceptions, no moments of weakness to exploit. Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. When you live by principles, you don't need to defend yourself. Your life speaks. Your actions prove. And the manipulator, who thrives on chaos and emotional volatility, has nothing to work with. You've become impossible to manipulate not because you've hardened yourself, but because you've clarified yourself. You know who you are, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. And that knowledge, that inner fortress, is something no external force can breach. So here's what we've walked through together. We've learned that manipulation dies in silence, that information is power, that emotional mastery is freedom, and that principles create invincibility. This isn't about becoming cold or isolated. It's about becoming sovereign, about reclaiming the one thing no one can take from you unless you hand it over. your inner authority. The Stoics and Machiavelli, for all their differences, agreed on this. The world is harsh, people will use you if you let them, and your only true defense is self-mastery. If this resonated with you, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the path to becoming impossible to manipulate starts with a single decision: that you will no longer be moved by forces outside your control. That decision changes everything. Thank you for walking this path with me.